So, in recent years, there's been a cluster of brain disorders, or what they call physical ailments involving people from northern New Brunswick. That it's still out, still being investigated. Even though the provincial government doesn't think it's a cluster yet, we believe it's a cluster. It might take a few more years to understand it. There's been some cases of lupus and ALS that are undiagnosed, what do you say, or where it came from. This is not just in a region as well, which was high metallic rates because of chemical plants, power plants, and smelters in our region. There's been occasions in entertainment where similar situations have occurred. We're going to talk about two of the most significant ones. One involves a Canadian, one involves John Wayne. Now, in 2002, an investigation was launched into the CBC series Leo and Me, which came out in the early 80s. This starred 16-year-old Michael J. Fox in his TV acting debut, playing Jamie, the 12-year-old younger nephew of Leo, Brent Carver, the great actor who was the lead on the show. Now, this investigation was launched after an unusual cluster of Parkinson's disease cases was noted among former cast and crew members of the show. Now, Michael J. Fox was diagnosed with Parkinson's, I think, around Back to the Future 3. Now, Fox and director Don Williams were among the four with the disease, along with a writer and a cameraman. When asked about the cluster by Howard Stern in the September 25th, 2013 interview on the Howard Stern Show, Fox stated, "Believe it or not, from a scientific point of view, that's not significant." Donald Kahn, a Vancouver neurologist, said the incidence of Parkinson's society is about 1 in 300, but that 4 to 125 on the Vancouver set of Leo and Me developed the disease. Collins said it could be a coincidence, but it's intriguing. It might be something they were exposed to. But again, how can you prove because the set is long gone? But because of the movie The Conqueror, the Howard Hughes movie, which John Wayne was a lead on, talking about like medieval times. Of the 220 crew members, 91, comprising 41% of the crew, developed cancer during their lifetime, while 46 or 21% died from it, including Wayne. When this was learned, many suspected that the movie, which was filmed in Utah and surrounding communities near nuclear test sites, was to blame. However, tobacco use was very common and likely to have been a key factor in accounting for these cancer deaths. Although the number of cases among the cast and crew was in line with the average for adults in the U.S. at the time, the perception of a link between the film's location and subsequent illness remains in 2024. Now, the movie was officially released in 1956, but was delayed for a short while due to the Howard Hughes, holdback on it. Now, the perception again of the link, not least because of those involved developing cancer at a younger age than average. Now, some filming locations included parts of Utah, such as Snow Canyon, Pine Valley, Leeds, and Harrisburg. Exteriors were shot in the Escalante Desert near St. George, Utah, which is 137 miles downwind of the United States government's Nevada national security site and received a brunt of nuclear fallout from testing active in this period. In 53 alone, 11 above-ground nuclear weapons tests occurred at the site as part of the Operation Upshot Knothole. The cast and crew spent many difficult weeks at the site, and producer Hughes later shipped 60 tons of dirt back to Hollywood in order to match the Utah terrain and lend realism to studio reshoots. The filmmakers knew about the nuclear tests, but the federal government had assured residents that the tests posed no hazard to the public health. Over 100 nuclear bombs were detonated in the area from 51 to 62. Now, directed by Dick Powell, but in 62 he developed lymphoma and died in January 63. Amarai Dees committed suicide in June 63 after being diagnosed with terminal cancer. And that was Pedro, the co-star. Now, Susan Hayward died of brain cancer in 1975. Wayne developed lung cancer in 64 and eventually died from stomach cancer in 79. Several of Wayne's and Hayward's relatives visiting the set also had cancer scares. Wayne's son Michael developed skin cancer, and Patrick had a benign tumor removed from his breast. Hayward's son, Tim Barker, had a benign tumor removed from his mouth. Angus Moorhead, also a key cast member, was a non-smoker, teetotaler, and health fanatic, yet died of cancer in April 74. Her mother, Mary, maintained that it was working on the Conqueror which ultimately killed Agnes. Now, of course, other actors on the show, John Hoyt, passed away from lung cancer in 91, while Lee Van Cleef died from a heart attack in 1989, but his secondary cause of death was listed as throat cancer. Some point to other factors such as the wide use of tobacco for cancer deaths. Wayne's heavy smoking habit was blamed for his cancer by Wayne and his wife Pilar. In a 2001 interview with Larry King, Powell's widow June Allison stated that the cause of death was lung cancer due to his chain smoking. Hayward's cancer began as a lung tumor identified in March 72 that later metastasized. Reportedly, Howard Hughes felt guilty about decisions regarding production, particularly over decision to film at a hazardous site. He bought every print for $12 million and kept it on circulation for many years until Universal Pictures purchased the film from his estate in '79. The Conqueror, along with Ice-T and Zebra, is said to be one of the films Hughes watched endlessly during his last years. Now, Dr. Robert Pendleton, then a professor of biology at the University of Utah, is reported to have stated in 1980, with these numbers, this case could qualify as an epidemic. The connection between followed radiation and cancer in individual cases have been practically impossible to prove conclusively. But in a group this size, you expect only 30-some cancers to develop. With 91 cancer cases, I think the tie into the exposure to Senator the Conqueror would hold up in a court of law. Several cast and crew members, as well as relatives of those who died, considered suing the government for negligence, claiming it knew more about the hazards in the area than it let on. Since the primary cast and crew numbered about 220, and a considerable number of cancer cases would be expected, controversy exists as to whether the actual results are attributable to radiation at the nearby nuclear weapons test site. Statistically, the odds of developing cancer for women in the U.S. population are 43%, and the odds of dying of cancer are 23%, very near what was found in this film crew. This statistic does not include the Native American Paiute extras in the film. No stats have been garnered on those. Now, the movie itself, again, I wouldn't recommend watching it. It's pretty well a Sandal epic that went bad. But let's go over the actors that were in it, and you can look them up and tell me who had passed away. John Wayne, Susan Hayward, Agnes Moorehead, Pedro Armendariz, Thomas Gomez, John Hoyt, William Conrad, Ted DeCorsia, Leslie Bradley, Lee Van Cleef, Peter Mamakos, Leo Gordon, Richard Liu, Michael Wayne, and Patrick Wayne. Released in January of '56, cost $6 million to make. I think it was much more than that, and it barely broke even at $9 million. And of course, RKO. So the idea, ladies and gentlemen, you shouldn't die because of a TV show or a set. But the fact is, there's all kind of doses that be going around. For example, if you were to film a film in northern New Brunswick in the early 1980s, you had a power plant in Dalhousie, chemical plant in Dalhousie, a fertilizer plant in Beldoon, 25 miles away. You had the smelter in Beldoon. You had a mill in Dalhousie, mill in Bathurst, Dudamat mill in Advil. There's going to be chemicals in the air. All the cases on northern New Brunswick can be attributed to many things. It could be water, it could be diet or whatever. We're heavy smokers as well. But if it's more than average, it has to be looked at. So whatever Leo, me, or the Conqueror, or what's been going on in northern New Brunswick, inform yourself and do the research, and never underestimate the power of getting the word out there. Have a good one.